Darling, I just called to tell you how awesome you are. You really are the one of my life, the love of my life. Temba said, speaking on the phone. And the voice on the other side, Sir, I'm sorry, but this is a brewery. Oh, of course I know, said Temba. I'm sure most of us are making such calls as of next week, Monday. Catch my drift? Good evening and welcome to Talk with Rams Live. We're streaming on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Welcome to all our viewers, the new ones, everybody who's been with us, the regulars, all of you rock. We truly appreciate your patronage. We are coming to the end of level 4 of the lockdown. I truly hope that this will open more chances for you to start trading and bring back your businesses to life. I cannot imagine how damaging COVID-19 has been to all of you. And I'm sorry for what has happened. I hope tomorrow is a better day. Now, I don't always do this, but please indulge me for a few seconds before we get to our main feature. When I posted live on Facebook the throw forward of tonight's show, someone by the name Busi Kazikwe asked a pertinent question, and I quote the question, guys, who is Rams? Frankly, I think that's a very legitimate question. I suspect Busi wants to know why everyone is talking about this interview with my guest tonight. I mean, who the hell interviews the legendary Mzuzukile Soni? I mean, who is this Rams? Well, Busi, I can't say much except to say my name is Rams Mabote. I'm just privileged to be the host of this platform called Talk with Rams Live. And I'm going to ask you to please like and follow the Facebook page because that's where you saw it, and stay with us for more amazing contact. I promise you, do not worry about Rams. I'm just the guy next door from Soweto. Just focus on the content and the guests that we bring, and you will thank me later. Now then, as we do once every now and then, we find someone who needs to be celebrated. Someone who's not just hishy lukewarm, you know, but inspires like higgy bear. I can't believe I just did them. Well, we call those people the game changers. And tonight our game changer comes from an organization called BrownsenseAfrica. I can say that now, BrownsenseAfrica, which is a joint venture between Brownsense Group, or the Brownsense Group, which was established in 2016, and the ICT Works, a Black woman-owned organization that provides innovative ICT solutions. Mzuzukile Soni, founder and CEO, joins us as our game changer tonight. Please share with us your experiences with BrownSense, how it has impacted your business. Indeed, just share with us your thoughts about this revolutionary business and the movement, and this man himself. I will be able to see and read your comments on Facebook and Instagram, and on both platforms, it is Talk with Rams. Good evening, Mzi, and thank you so much for being my guest tonight.
Good evening, Rams. Thank you for inviting me to your show. Evening to your listeners as well.
It is a privilege to have you, my brother. I always knew I'm going to talk to you, and I'm glad that whatever stopped me until this moment, because this is the best moment ever to speak to you.
Yeah. No, it's an honor to be invited by yourself also. You know, I think we've kind of crossed paths at different points in our lives.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen a few threads on Facebook where your comment comes just above mine, or you say something. So I'm like, oh, there's that guy.
And I am that guy indeed. Those who know will always say, I'm that guy. But let's start with the main first, because I'm here to celebrate you, and we'll still talk about the business. But you know, in a minute or three, let's trace a bit about who this man is, your personal story, where it starts, you know, and a bit of your journey.
Yeah. I'm also a guy from Soweto, Rams. I grew up in three parts of Soweto: Orlando West, Orlando East, and then Pimville, where I was shaped as a teenage boy to my early 20s. So I grew up as an only child, although we lived in a house with cousins, uncles, granny. So there was not that much of an experience of being an only child. I started schooling at a school called Tabisang Primary School. If any of your listeners are from Tabisang, just hear your hey Tabisang, I'm here. But anyway, I as I say, from Orlando West to Orlando East. I think in terms of what led to the path that I've taken, there's a lot of experiences that one goes through. Sometimes you don't know that the reason for that. Other times it's more out of curiosity or uthandizin or just peer pressure. So one of those for me was, excuse me. So I grew up in a house where my aunt and my uncle, her husband, they went into exile. So they've been involved in the struggle. I think that was my first exposure to what was happening in this country. We actually drove them to Gaborone. Not drove them, but my cousin in 1984. So those with calculators can now start counting, maybe plus minus how old Mzuzukile is. 84, we went to Gaborone. For me, I thought it was a holiday outing. Not knowing that, no, we were actually helping this young kid who was my cousin to skip the country. Wow. So I think for me, those are the types of memories, when I go back. And obviously at the time, I didn't know what was happening. It's only in hindsight, that I got to find out or get told. But what I do recall, being in Gaborone at the time was, I remember my cousin's dad was trying to start his car, and I think somehow picked up that there was a bomb that was planted. Next thing, there's guys running into the yard with guns. They're doing whatever to the car. Next thing, we are being shipped to another house. And also, I do remember that we never used to sleep in the same house every night. So it was kind of like, you sleep here tonight, wake up, have breakfast, you don't know where you're going to go. So they were different. What we later find out was called safe houses. For me, it was a holiday home at the time. So growing up, in the 80s, also, I think any black guy that grew up in the 80s, the experience, even if you were not part of what we called the Amacom back then as kids, but at one point or another, you ran away from the police. There was a whole experience of tear gas. I've seen people being necklaced and those types of experiences that have shaped us and wired our brains a certain way. So I later then studied law post my high school. So I've got a legal background. I've practiced for a few years. And I think there's just been at one point or another that thinking, that as Black people, we need to assert ourselves and find our own solutions to our problems.
Before we get there, you rush into the business. I want to know about the man. I want to know about them, and I'm here for you, my brother.
Well,
so on your path, there are people you would have met who inspired and motivated you. Can you think about one or two, whether as a teenager or later in life?
So I've already mentioned one of them. I just didn't contextualize it. That's my cousin. His name is Lindsay. So I grew up, I think I call him my cousin, but I've always seen Lindsay as a bigger brother to me. And that's the role that he's played. I'm not sure if I've told him this, so if he's listening, now you know. But he's always had that influence in me in terms of, without even formally schooling me. There are people who try to, you must do this like that, but whatever. But it was just by me looking and observing how he was. And then in my, I think, teens, I got exposed to Dr. David Mulapo. He came to our high school. I think I was in standard 8, what is now called grade 10. He came to do a talk. It was not the first time I was seeing him. I had seen him on TV prior to then. But I must say that he planted a seed in my mind, in my heart, in terms of believing in yourself in terms of whatever the mind can conceive, you can achieve those types of things. Obviously, somewhere down the path, one loses the focus, but I think, through luck, through God's protection, we get back on path and then we carry on, to achieving our destiny. I think you limited me to 2 people. There's just
you can go to 10.
I've always been curious and attracted to, someone that people would somehow see as the underdog. For one reason or another. And by underdog, there's different qualities or different definitions I've got for that. Underdog does not necessarily also mean that someone who doesn't have the resources, but can mean that someone who, for me, doesn't have the benefit of a lot of people being on their side, because maybe they don't speak what the crowd wants to hear, but they're speaking their truth. Do you understand? So they're speaking their truth, and they are focused on what they are doing and wanting to achieve what they want to achieve. Somewhat, I think people that would be called in today's terms disruptors. But I think back in our days, people who don't really fit into the mold in terms of this is what what in school they used to teach us as a good student must listen, and they teach you how to form a line, the shortest to the furthest at the back. But that kid who's like super creative, there was a kid in high school called, I forgot his name, Ranswe, I think was his name. Very creative, very, what's the word, unconventional,
Yes.
very intelligent also. When I say unconventional, I remember we were given a task, him and I, to do a speech, to prepare a speech for English. We never prepared the speech. So the speech was based on a scene from a movie that we were watching. I think the movie is called The Mission. Ranswe was playing rugby during lunch break. I was hanging out with my friends. We connected at the front of the class when we were supposed to do the speech. And he said whatever he said, I said whatever we said. It was all spur of the moment based on what we saw and what we interpreted. Because that for me means that, there's a set of rules that are given, but you don't have to play by the rules. And this is something that I think our education has taught us in terms of this is the only right answer. There's only one right answer. There's only one wrong answer. You get punished if you get something wrong. Therefore, you become afraid to experiment. Do you understand? So those are the types of things that I think early on. I think that's why I enjoyed literature also, because I was given the space to give something my own interpretation and meaning.
Okay, so let's get to the nitty-gritty then, because the part that you want to talk business. I see you like talking shop. Okay, let's talk shop. In simple terms, what is BrownSense?
What is BrownSense? BrownSense is a platform that gives Black-owned businesses access to markets. That's the simple answer. That's the one-line answer. Yes.
I like the one-line answer, because we're going to get more into the other answers later. Yes. Why BrownSense?
Why BrownSense? Because it makes sense.
I don't want the one-line answer now. I want a bit more.
It's something that is needed as an answer. Earlier, I said that I believe as Africans, we need to own our own solutions to our challenges and problems. So when I started BrownSense, that was the thinking. We need a space where we as African people can create our own solutions and figure our way out and find a way to build our own economy, find a way to also challenge the way maybe we perceive certain things. One of those things, which I asked myself, this was a dialogue, if I can call it a dialogue, that I had with myself, was what informs the thinking that if I go to a Black-owned business, I'm going to be disappointed. There's a sense of being apprehensive. With, don't take too much of a chance. Just try him out and see how he does. So when I had those thoughts, because I've also been on the receiving end of that. You know, as a practicing lawyer, I've had a black businessman coming to me, giving us an instruction, and to my face saying, "I just gave you a small instruction because I wanted to test you out. Otherwise, I use some Afrikaner boys." Those were his words. I use some Afrikaner boys, blah, 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 whatever. Do you understand? So he thought, let me just give them something that if they mess it up, it doesn't cost me a lot. So what informs that? Where does that thinking come from? And why, do we then act so harsh? If I'm disappointed by a black businessman or woman, that I would go to the social media and put them on blast and say, yeah, Mzu did this and that. This is what you get for supporting black businesses and all that. So for me, it was like, how do we create a space where we also challenge those narratives, but also work towards creating a sense of normalcy around buying black. It doesn't need to be an event. It doesn't need to be a show where, if I'm going to buy from you, I must now take a selfie and post it on Facebook and say, look at me, I've just bought from a black business.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, in my opinion, that is fine because that is where we are. It speaks to where we are currently. But how do we make it a default setting that it's no longer, I think, I've got my eldest is turning 11 years old tomorrow. Little brother is 4 and then the youngest is 3. These kids, when they grow up, they must not think twice. They must not crack their skulls to say, must I go right or go left? It must be a way of life because this is what they grew up watching. Yeah.
That sounds, there's a strong political motivation in there. Was there also an economic one, the old one of circulating the rand among us?
Yeah, it is. So that's the thing about Brown Sense, right? So there's it's chosen an economic way of solving these problems, which are political in nature, quite complex. I think I must say the way they're complex. For me, it's kind of like difficult at this point to really unpack them or remove the layers. So why economic? It's because also that's where we've been excluded the most in terms of having access to the means of production, having access to spaces where these decisions get made, where these policies get framed, because this is just bigger than me starting a company today and then getting a business opportunity that would get me some kind of profit. But it also speaks to what other policies, processes, or systems that are in place that have shut us out. And I think that's where the politics come into play in terms of how it's been systemic. Because I think what we need to get is that it's not as simple and as easy as, okay, Rams, here's a whatever amount contract and then it solves all your problems. I think for the fact that we do have a number of wealthy or rich black people in this country or around the world, but there still isn't much that they can even do to say, look, how do we move this needle forward with what they have? That for me speaks to the system within which we operate and who that system benefits.
But then you made it a closed group. And for me, something also happened. So you make this a closed group, and 4 years later, there's 1 million people in this group. How do you crack both? I mean, I thought this guy makes it closed. He's going to end up with 3,000 people here over 30 years.
So I must correct you, but I do receive that there's 1 million people. So there's 194,000 plus.
No. That's the subscribers that you see. There's 1 million people who are buying in the background.
That's why I'm saying I received that,
Yes,
and it's what we normally call the blind spot. There's the what we see, but there's also those people and their ecosystems that they influence and impact. So why is it a closed group? To be quite honest, when I started the group on Facebook, so I don't know if you've had the experience of starting a group on Facebook. So you get different settings.
I'm a serial group starter.
I've started, so let me tell you, when I started Brown Sense, I had started only one group, which was, I used to sell weaves.
Weaves, not weed.
weaves, my hair,
Okay,
my extension, you know. So I started a page, not a page, a group. It's still there. I still get notifications saying you haven't posted or whatever. But anyway, so I had that experience. Excuse me. So I started the group, and then they give you different options: public group, private, I think closed, and then the ultimate was secret. That was like, for me, when I saw secret, I was like, yeah, that's going to add a bit of some mystery and intrigue. You know, someone says secret group, they're starting a secret society or what? But it initially started as a secret group. And what that means from a Facebook perspective is that if someone goes on Facebook and they type Brown Sense, the group will never show up. So it's only people that have been added, and then they in turn can invite whoever they invite, but we also have to vet and approve them. We've since moved it from secret to closed. So closed means you can find it, you can ask to join, you still get vetted and approved or not approved. Yeah. So yeah, that's essentially how it started. But why closed and all of that? It helps from a curating point of view, you know, curating a Facebook group. And I think also looking at the numbers in the group that you have, it becomes easier for people to spot an opportunity where they can take advantage for their own negative intentions.
I'll tell you, I mean, very interesting space, and the people in the group have become a family, and they're so protective. So about 3 years ago, when I was on Metro FM, I then post on Brown Sense to say, look, which is the same content I still do now. I profile small businesses, black businesses. I want to give them an opportunity to profile themselves. So if you know anybody, please, here's my email address. Was I attacked? What are you doing here? You know, you're coming to steal our own content. Like, I got shocked. You know, people were fighting me, and I thought, there's no competition. I'm trying to compliment what is happening here. You know, you create markets. I'm just creating profiles. That's what I do. But I'll never forget that experience. I actually had to delete the post.
Wow.
It was scary. No. It was not you. It was some. You know, there's always somebody who chooses to protect us, even when they don't know what we really want in life. So it's okay. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
So don't worry. Now they're listening to us. They will come direct now and give us their profiles so that we can profile them. And then Mzu, this week something exciting happened.
Yes.
Now we've added .Africa to the name.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, that's very exciting. So, you know, from day one, we actually had a very emotional post, I think about 2-3 years ago, around this issue. You know, whether is this group only for South Africans, or is it open for all Africans? And my response was that when we started the group, from day one, the outlook has always been Pan-African. These are borders that were imposed on us by, you know, what do you call them? Colony, whatever. I forgot that name. My English is depleting. Yeah. So from day one, and when we made the move towards, you know, launching an e-commerce platform, which is something again that has been a call from the group members. You know, there's always been a number of people who've said, why don't we have these transactions taking place in a safe environment, you know, where we can transact and all that, where everyone gets protected, but it also benefits, excuse me, Brown Sense benefits the businesses as well. And when we came up with the name .Africa, that's the message that we want to send out, that this is by Africans for Africans, right? Unapologetic, fearless about that, because this is a space where we say, you know what, all the Black entrepreneurs, it can be in the continent, the diaspora, can plug in and sell on this platform. So we launched this on Monday, this past Monday on the 25th, like you say. So when we were close to finishing it and we were planning the launch, we were ideally planning a launch, you know, bells and whistles, proper event, media, speeches and all that, you know, nice, you know, maybe I was going to cut my hair a bit. But then COVID-19 happened. The lockdown happened, and we felt that we can't sit and wait, and we don't know what the future holds. And besides, this is a solution that's also helping us solve what businesses are going through right now. There are people that since we've closed the market, the monthly market that we used to have, have been sending us messages to say, we need something where we can sell online. When is the market opening and all that? Obviously, we don't have the answers to those, but with an e-commerce platform, the landscape is wider even than what a market can present to the businesses.
So the private sector often claims that they want to fulfill PE obligations, which I don't believe necessarily. And then they say it's not easy to get reliable, experienced Black businesses to work with. Firstly, do you agree with the notion? And two, what role is BrownSense playing in that space?
Sure. So to your first part of the question, my response is no. I don't believe that at all. I think most of us have seen that, this is usually a cop-out by corporate SA, to keep Black-owned businesses. And it also happens with regards to employment. Where a position is created or there's a vacancy, we couldn't find Black people to fill the position, and then someone, who is white happens to be ready to fill that space. So the same applies to business as well. And what we've done also, which is why with BrownSense we've got standards, right? They start from the group on Facebook, where in order for your post, as administrative as it is, in order for your post to get approved, it needs to comply with certain requirements. Then you're within the group, you're engaging with your clients, potential clients, and so forth. How you engage with them, if we either pick it up or someone sends us a note to say, this is what happened or whatever, we've got intervention mechanisms, because the whole thing is about creating accountability as well as integrity in terms of how we do business amongst ourselves. As far as the database and people accessing, some of the BrownSense linked businesses, we've had a few companies coming to us in the private sector saying, look, we need a list of the following type of companies. We do the vetting for them and whatever, and then we give them a list that's recommended. That's a service that we provide as BrownSense, because we are already doing the hard work in terms of, passing through a pipeline of people that would meet the requirements that they present.
Would that business be the BrownSense verified?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay.
That's the BrownSense verified. We did have it in 2017. It was very much a manual process on our part in terms of verifying the business. That meant we had to look at your company documents and all that, and then give you an endorsement or a seal that you could put next to your name. But now the process is automated on BrownsenseAfrica, where we vet the company directors. There's an element of checking your integrity type checks. Does the bank account link to the same company, to the same individual? Is there anything in terms of hits around, maybe there's a question mark of some sort around this individual or not? These are the types of mechanisms that we put into place to say the people that you'll be getting on BrownsenseAfrica are BrownSense verified.
Freddie is telling me that we're running out of time. He's a rude guy behind me all the time. So quickly, how as BrownSense, how do you collaborate with Black businesses?
Yeah. I'm glad you asked me that question, and because there's a lot that already we've achieved through collaboration. So firstly, a collaboration needs to make sense in terms of what impact is it going to create. The one example that I will use is how BrownSense with other companies or organizations formed what is called the People's Fund. The People's Fund now provides purchase order funding to Black-owned businesses. We've done over 100 million rands in terms of funds that have been enabled over the past 3 years as the People's Fund. That's number one. So that involves 5 companies currently. So it's not BrownSense being steering. It's like BrownSense, there's the Hookup Dinner, there's Tucha Africa, there's Paybook, and so forth. Secondly, the very reason of our conversation tonight, BrownsenseAfrica, is a culmination of a collaboration. where, you know what, one of the things that's very close to my heart is the people that we work with, and how they also empower those who have been disenfranchised. So there's us as Black people, and then there's also Black women. Hence, we went with ICT Works, which is 100% Black-owned women company, led by Mzuzukile Soni.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the types of things that we look at in terms of, okay, what is your strength? What are you bringing to the table? But also, what are your values? It's easy to speak pro-Black, but at the back of one's mind, there's other, end goals and so forth.
Yeah. We know that all the time. Finally, Mzu, I was hoping nobody would ask this question, because I thought this question has been answered for the last 4 years. Somebody says, where do we find Brown Sense? Please give us contact details. Like, well, I'm going to ask you to give the contact details.
Sure. Just 30-second sidetrack. I once gave someone my the Metro FM numbers and said, call me on 089
1103377.
And they called. She says, I called the number. But anyway, the best way, drop us an email on info@brownsense.africa. INFO, brown for color, brown sense for common sense, .africa.
Well, as one of our followers and our viewers, Tibel Lomochema says, Brown Sense makes sense. And I know that. My brother, from me, and I'm sure I speak for quite a few people, maybe 5 in my family at least.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the work that you do.
Thank you, sir.
I truly appreciate you, and we'll always celebrate you. And you're going to get to now 1 million facing and 10 million behind. It's going to happen very soon.
How to that? Thank you.
Great stuff. That was our game changer, Mzuzukile Soni from Brown Sense. If you are not on Brown Sense, I'm not sure that your business is going to grow. Please go on Brown Sense. Yes, they'll have to check you first. We don't trust people like you. We check you first, then we make sure you're okay. Then we let you into the game. So tomorrow is Friday. It's Motivation Friday with Dr. T. And Dr. T says, if you are poor, it's not because you lack money. It's just that your mindset is not on the money. And it's going to help you to get the mindset on the money. You can't miss it. 7:30 p.m. right here on Facebook Live, Instagram, and YouTube as Talk with Rams. We also want you to participate in critiquing us, in suggesting topics. Our details will be on the screen. We've got an email address. Let us know what else we can talk about on the show. Curate it for us. Let us all play a part in the show. And I'm hoping, finally, that Sisbusi, I've justified who Rams is, that you'll come back tomorrow, and another day, and another day, and another day. Thank you very much to Freddie for driving the show and making it happen for you wherever you're watching. From me, Rams Mabote, good night and God bless.